going on, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday Creo demonstration. My name is RJ, and today I'm going to take you go over the Creo Powderless DTF systems, really the strengths, the weaknesses, where it fits in the marketplace, and then we're going to do some live demonstrations. So I'm going to show you how to decorate a dark shirt, a light shirt, and then I will be showing you one of my favorite products, but the temporary tattoo paper. So before we get into all of the demonstration, the live pressing, let's go ahead and go over, what is Creo and what are these machines. So before we get started, we have two models. We have the Crio 8432 WDT and the Creo 9541 WDT, and then our Creo One Press Heat Press. So the 8432 is really going to be our flagship product. This is a 11 by 17 printer, and the technology on the inside is a toner-based system. When I say toner-based system, that should get you smiling, that should make you happy, because that means there are zero maintenance to these machines to operate. Truly, I could turn the printer on today, print out 100 transfers. I could turn it off the rest of the week, the rest of the month, the rest of the year, and the next time I turn the printer on, it is going to act like it's brand new. Especially when you hear DTF, you definitely can't be you normally hear the words maintenance and you got to be printing all the time. With the Creo systems, you really don't have to worry about any of that. It's truly a product where when you want to print, turn it on and print. When you don't, turn the printer off. You do not have to hire a babysitter if you want to go on vacation, if you want to take a week off, whatever it might be. That is the greatest strength of this technology. Now, where the Creo fits in our industry, it's a short to medium run solution. Maybe someone wants 15 full color t-shirts, 30 full color t-shirts, one t-shirt. That's really our sweet spot. If you are doing larger runs and you are interested in the Creo, we always recommend outsourcing. The reason for that being is because on a standard 8.5 by 11 sheet, our cost all in is roughly $2.10 per sheet to decorate a shirt. Now that cost is going to be for one shirt or for 1,000 shirts. And normally if you have a run for, 200 t-shirts, we have a fixed cost, and you start to get price breaks if you do outsource to maybe like a traditional DTF transfer, screen print transfer, something like that. So our sweet spot is, it's like I said, 1 to 50. And that short to medium run full color is our sweet spot. But we're not limited to just garments. And I'll talk about this in the kind of further on. But everything over here to my left is going to be decorated with the Creo system. So anything from metal, acrylic, ceramic. We have these different medias, these hard surface medias that can decorate an abundance of different products. So you truly aren't limited to just soft goods. With these systems, if you put your mind to it or if you imagine it, truly it's something that you could probably decorate with one way or another. So let's go over the two models. I went over the 8432, 11 by 17. This is a 4-color printer. What I mean by that is it ships with cyan, magenta, yellow, and white. It does not ship with a black toner. Now there is an optional black toner and black drum if you do want a true CMYK printer. But most customers, it creates what's called a process black, which you will see during this demonstration. And if you're printing on a black garment like I'm wearing, we normally pull that black out in our design, which again you'll see in the design we made for the dark t-shirts. This has, our both printers have a 2-year on-site warranty, and a lot of the times it's quicker for us to just kind of replace the printers if you do run into issues hardware related down the line. Now that is great because look, you're buying a piece of equipment. We know you're investing a lot of money into Creo, so we truly want to invest that back into you and not have you worrying about a print head clogging or anything like that. If it breaks, Creo is going to fix it or replace it, and you're covered bumper to bumper for 2 years. Now the 9541, this is going to be the only one of its kind in our in our space. It's the only toner-based 5-color printer on the market. So you have cyan, magenta, yellow, black, and white in the 9541. This is truly going to be our production machine. So with the 8432, you'll get about roughly 3,000 to 4,000 prints out of a full set of toner. Where the 9541, you're going to be looking upwards to 10 to 15,000 prints on a full set of toner. So more production out of this machine, and it's the only 13 by 19 printer on the market for the toner-based products. So the 9541 truly is in a class of its own. Now, price point wise, you're looking at $74.95, $7,495 for the 8432, and $11,995 for the 9541. Both Creo printers are going to ship with the printers, a set of toners, or consumables. It's going to ship with the RIP software. We're going to give you a USB cable to print, and then we are going to give you what we call a remote support tablet. So it's basically a mini tablet or iPad that's got a bunch of our training videos on it. One thing that makes Creo stand out is that we offer a lot of free training. So every single Tuesday, if you invest in a Creo, we do free live RIP training, RIP software training. So there's a morning session and an afternoon session. On Wednesdays, we do application training. So it's one thing if I'm telling you we can do all this cool stuff, but if I'm not showing you how to do it, it's kind of useless. So on a Wednesday, you can expect to see maybe one day we're decorating a black cotton t-shirt. The next week we're doing tattoos. The next week we're doing mugs. So we always try to mix it up, but we do that live for you to come and bring questions. Now when you invest in Creo, like I said, we're investing back into you. So we give you access to our exclusive support website called mycreo.com. On here, that's where you can expect to find all of our how-to videos on how to decorate all these things. We have different marketing kits and profit guides, to kind of give you ideas of how to sell and where to sell. It might be your school market, it might be a holiday season. Our marketing team is always coming up with different ideas and ways for you to profit using these machines. I would think when you think Creo, just think of end user support. We're always definitely going to be here to help you along the way. And I think that's truly what makes Creo stand out kind of, against everybody else. I'll probably think of different things, but let's go ahead and get into the demonstration. So I'm going to show you basically the speed of the printer. So compared to a traditional DTF printer, the Creo is going to print very, very fast. So the Creo will print roughly 16 to 20 sheets per minute, which is going to be awesome. A traditional DTF printer, you're looking at 5 to 10 minutes per sheet. So this is going to be very fast because it is a toner laser-based product. Now, when we're decorating a black or a dark garment, we use a media called a two-step media. What I mean by that is we will be printing to our film. One side is kind of matte, or you can feel the polymer on it. The other side is glossy. We are going to load this glossy side facing down. The cool thing about the Creo is what we have is called a straight paper path. So basically it goes in the front and comes right out the back. There's no bending or twisting of that media. It's really just flat. So that's how we can get an abundance of different medias through this machine and still warranty those products, is because this is the only printer in the toner base that is manufactured to do this. Our printers leave the manufacturing facility as you see them here, and that's why we can offer these on-site warranties. Then once you do that, you just go to your RIP software. And then once you rip the design, you go ahead and select print. Now this can be, as you see here, just one transfer, but I could have up to about 50, 60 transfers on there. The one thing you got to note is that there's some static electricity that might cause it. But you'll see here, once it rips the first design, the printer's going to kick on, and then it's going to start printing. Again, this is going to be 16 to 20 prints per minute. Now, both Creo printers, I forgot to bring this up, have the capability of printing 52 inches long, which I think is awesome, because if you do want to get some type of banner material or longer paper to do some signage, both Creo printers have the capability of printing up to 52 inches long. Now you can see there, that is very quick. So full color print, like I said, less than a minute, really, from just loading in your image into the rip, hitting print, it ripping it and printing. And then from there, it would, like I said, 16 to 20 sheets per minute. Now, unlike traditional DTF printing, if this was a traditional DTF printer, I would have to sprinkle on a powdered adhesive, and then I would have to put it in an oven. With our system, we use a safer alternative, which is a sheeted adhesive. This right here is a glue sheet per se. It's an adhesive sheet. And what we have to do to add the glue to our transfer is press it underneath the heat press. So what I have here is I have my Creo 1 press set at 300 degrees from anywhere from 75 to 90 seconds. I'm going to cover this with some parchment paper just so it doesn't stick to the top. Now with our system, one of the strengths and weaknesses. One of the strengths, no maintenance. One of the weaknesses is you do want a good heat press. I'm not saying it has to be the Creo heat press, but you do want a good American-made swing away heat press. Now you can definitely get away with the clamshells. Make sure it's at least 16 by 20 because the paper size is either going to be 13 by 19 or 11 by 17. So you do want to make sure that your paper is completely covered. But the reason for that, especially when I say American-made swing away, is that when it is a swing away press, you're going to get consistent pressure from top to bottom. And we know, especially with our manufactured product here, is that we're going to get consistent heat from the front to the back. One thing you don't want to do is go cheap on a heat press. What I mean by that is, if you go on maybe Amazon and get a $100, $200 heat press, you can have inconsistencies, whether it's pressure or heat. And you're going to see here, we call this the marrying process, is I'm going to peel these two sheets apart, and if I'm not getting consistent heat or pressure throughout that transfer, I could start missing different spots. Now you notice too, I don't have any Teflon on the top or the bottom of my press. That's just because we want to get as much heat and pressure as possible during this step. Yes, one of the weaknesses is this is the only bottleneck. I could print 16 to 20 pages per minute, but it's still a 90-second heat press. So with our system, instead of getting 5 different Creos, you can get one Creo, multiple presses to kind of increase that productivity. Now my press is done. This is what we call a hot peel. So you're simply just going to grab a corner and keep it nice, low and steady to the press. You don't want to lift this off the heat press during this step. But once you have a good heat press, honestly, this is the only really learning curve to this process, is just adding the glue. Now, kind of show you here, all of that glue, can't really see it, there you go, all that glue stuck to where the toner was. So if you're familiar with vinyl, we do call this self-weeding and self-cutting. The reason for the two-step paper for dark is because that glue sheet is kind of acting like an additional layer of white to make the colors nice and vibrant when going on the dark shirts. You'll see me do a one-step process here after this. That will stick to the dark garment, but it won't have that vibrancy. Now, we strategically made our glue sheets or B sheets or adhesive sheets a little smaller than our A sheets to give you a place to peel. So I'm going to quickly just trim around these edges to make sure I don't have any excess adhesive. And now I'm ready to press. So I have a 100% black cotton t-shirt here. But the nice thing with this system is that this could be any material in any color. You are not limited to any type of fabric or garment. So because this is cotton, I'm going to leave the heat press at 300 degrees. And I'm going to press this from anywhere between basically 15 and 30 seconds. Now, I made that comment about, since this is cotton, I could stay at 300 degrees. The cool thing about this film is that it's called a low temp film, which means that we can even press with this same film onto Mylar balloons, because the adhesive or the glue will stick as low as 210 degrees. That's going to give you so much advantages, especially if you're going onto polyesters as well, or nylon, or those heat sensitive substrates, because you're not worrying about it scorching that material. So especially if it's like a red polyester polo, I'm going to press that, as low as 225 degrees. It's going to help a couple things. It's not going to leave a press mark, and it's going to keep my colors true. Meaning that is that if I'm printing white on red, I don't want that white to be pink. I want it to be white. And at that lower temperature, that's what's going to help achieve that. Traditional DTF printing, you can't go that low, so you could be limited to what fabrics you can decorate. Now, you might notice, but this is going to be a true cold peel. So I'm going to set this aside, let this cool down. While this is cooling down, I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to do a light t-shirt. So I have 100% cotton. I'm not even too sure what the color is, but let's just call it teal or light blue. So this shirt right here could be almost anything other than black or navy. We use a one-step media where you really just print and press, so you don't even have to worry about adding that additional layer. And like I said, this will go on pretty much anything else other than the darker colors. When you do that, you want to increase the pressure of your heat press. On the Creo 1 press, it's right around a 5 or a 6. And then you still are at that 300 degrees, but it's only a 10-second press. This is going to be more of a hot peel. So once my time is up, I'm going to swing this away. I'm going to fan it twice, come to the top and pop it, and then peel it off the shirt. Now you see here, we have no toner or any excess on our sheet. This is garbage. And on our shirt, we have a nice, vibrant print. Now this looks awesome, but there's one more step, and I would even recommend doing this with any type of transfer, is we want to seal this. The reason for being that is that we want to get the maximum amount of washes. So we have the transfer on the shirt. If I put this in the wash over time, this is probably going to flake off because it's really just sitting on the surface. So what we recommend is using a T-seal sheet. What this is going to do is this is going to physically embed all of the toner inside of the fabric. Me personally, and I'm just going to give you my professional opinion, I always say T-seal for 30 seconds if it is going to be washed and dried. Just because I found, especially doing my own shirts, washing and wearing, going to the gym and that stuff, is you start to see cracking once you do it 30 seconds, like 40, 50, 60 washes down the line, doing it for the 30 seconds. Now, because this is a demo, this 30 seconds is up. Yes, you can do it, 10, 15 seconds. It's just my personal opinion to do it 30. This one T-seal sheet, the cool thing is that this can be used 400 or 500 different times. So there is a silicone rubber texture on here. When you can no longer feel that texture, it's really time to get another T-seal. But again, that is 400 or 500 presses down the line. And then there you can see the colors are still nice and vibrant. And then you can see here, this is that processed black I'm talking about. It looks very, very good to the naked eye. You really would have no idea that this is printed with 100% cyan, magenta, and yellow, and it's not a black. So that is the one-step paper. Very quick, very easy. Truly one of my favorite products. Now, this has probably been cold for a while now, but once this is cold, just lay it flat, and you are going to just take it off the shirt. So, see here, we have no toner left on our A sheet. And now with our two-step paper, it has a little glass. Try to get that in the light. There you go. So it's a little glossy. This is truly setting on the surface. So just like the one-step paper, to get that durability and washability and more stretchability, we are going to T-seal this. Another tip I like to give is that to make sure your colors are as vibrant as possible, you can turn your heat press down to 250 degrees and start T-sealing, and it's just only going to keep your colors more vibrant. At the hotter temperature, if you think about that sublimation temp really being as far away from that as possible to keep those colors vibrant, because the hotter it is, the more color kind of sucks out from the garment. Again, peel it right off. And we still have nice, vibrant colors on our garment. Feels very nice. Into the mic, you can't hear any crinkling or anything like that. You could tell here, though, in both images that we just pressed, this is a freeform design. There's a lot of open space. Just like traditional DTF or really any other decorative method, the more you could break up that design, the less big blocky it is, the better it's going to feel, wash, and wear on the shirt. So that's kind of it. Production wise, we have some videos on our YouTube channel, but we did 30 full color black or two-step laser dark shirts in an hour to kind of give you an idea. And then the one step, it's about 7 shirts in 7 minutes. So basically 10 shirts, right around 60 shirts an hour, about a shirt a minute as far as pressing and sealing goes, just because it is so fast. So again, you can get, some production out of these, but truly it's, someone's going on a family vacation, someone's going on a bachelor or bachelorette party, stuff of that nature, those shorter runs. Now I want to show you, before we do the tattoo, our biggest question is, I kind of went over the washes. You're looking at 30, 40, 50 washes before you start to see some cracking and drying. I have 2 shirts here. You could tell one of them has really been pulled on. But this one right here has been washed over 30 times. Just pulled, stretched. We take it all the trade shows. And this one is brand new, never been washed before. So you can see that it truly does hold up in the wash, in the wear. I mean, like I said, I make shirts all the time. That and I don't do any special things. Now the paper companies, the film companies are going to tell you inside out, tumble dry low heat. I just throw mine in there with everything else, put it in the dryer, take it out. So truly, once you do seal that product, it is going to last. You don't have to worry about that happening. Now let me get into the last part, which is one of my favorite products, the temporary tattoo paper. Again, these are printers, so we could print on cardstock. We could print on black cardstock with white text. We have customers buying gold cardstock using white text and sending out wedding invitations, stuff of that nature. So it's not just a garment printer. But we have these things called temporary tattoos. So just like the Cracker Jack boxes or back in the day, see it right here. You print on a paper and then it does have a film. Pull that film off. Place that tattoo wherever you want it on your body. When I say bachelorette parties, I can't tell you how many times I have made tattoos for friends of mine that are going to these different bachelorette parties, putting the groom. If you're thinking about kids' birthday parties, putting a bunch of Spider-Man or whatever it might be. But just like the old days, all you want to do is just wet this. Just give it a few dabs, and then you're going to start to see that it just rolls right off. And so there, you can start doing custom tattoos. So it might not be your everyday business. It might not be something that you need to use all the time, but it's something that can generate more income for you. Our cost of paper for an A4 size of tattoo paper is about $3. If I could fit, let's just say even 30 tattoos on there, and I charge $1 a tattoo. You just made 30 bucks or $27 of profit off a $3 sheet of paper. You didn't even need a heat press. You didn't need anything like that. It's the same goes with the sticker paper. Same goes with the water slide paper. So truly, it's one of those things that if you put your mind to it, you can decorate it with the Creo system. So again, Crio Powderless DTF with white toner technology. We're printing white. There's zero maintenance to it. We have the on-site warranty for 2 years if you need us. We have our support website if you need us. We do free training twice a week. Endless amounts of support as far as the manufacturer go on our end. So I do appreciate you guys tuning in on this Wednesday. I hope it was informative. If you do want to reach out to us, if you have more questions, if you want to buy or whatever it might be, go to www.createwithcreo.com. Scroll down on our sheet and do the connect with a dealer, or all the way at the bottom, the contact us. Reach out to us. It'll come directly to our team. We'll either reach out to you or put you through one of our authorized dealers to help answer any questions you might have. So again, my name is RJ. Appreciate you guys hanging out, and you guys have a good rest of your day.